How we doing, guys? This is Kirk from Quick Draw Mods, and today's video is going to be how to replace your shell, your thumbsticks, and your buttons. Instead of making 3 separate videos on how to change your buttons, how to change your thumbsticks, and how to change your shell, I'm just going to do it all in one video. So, let's get started. First, you need an Xbox 360 controller, like this one. Make sure your batteries are out. You're going to need a Torx T8H screwdriver, and you're also going to need a T6, and you're going to need a soldering iron. And you're probably saying, why do I need a soldering iron to change these things? And I will show you. First thing you need to do is you need to open your shell. Feel around in the middle here. There's actually a screw hidden right underneath the battery cover. You're going to take that screw out. There you go. But that's not all. There are 4 other screws. In order to get to them, you need to take off the side handles. The easiest way to do this is to push down the trigger, reach in, and pull. They'll come right off. Don't be afraid of breaking them. You're not going to break them. They're industrial plastic with tabs. There you go. And you're going to take out the 4 screws. They're very easy to locate. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. Your top shell should come off. Your bottom shell should come off. Now here's where you need your soldering iron. Unlike the 360 controller, the rumbles on the Xbox One controller, they are pretty much attached with solder. So, in order to remove them, you're going to need a soldering gun or iron. I like to add a little bit of extra solder to each of the soldering points. Excuse me. There we go. Make sure your iron is nice and hot. Obviously mine is not. There's one. Okay, so I have disconnected my two rumble motors, and I've disconnected the wires for the trigger rumble motors. Now you're going to need your Torx T6. There are two screws, here and here. Remove them. Okay. Also, I want to point out that if you're going to replace the entire shell, the new shells do not come with the battery clips. So in order to remove them, on the inside, you can see that there's two little clips that are holding them here and here. Just kind of pop them, slide them up a little. It comes right off. And then on the inside, make sure to push the tabs in and down. And they will come out. And then on your new cover, you're just gonna put it in and push. And that's it, it's in. I'm not gonna put this on the new cover. The way that I'm gonna do this controller is I'm not actually gonna replace the entire shell. I'm actually gonna do half black, half white, just so that you get an idea of how to replace everything. But this particular controller was ordered to be half black, half white. I call it the tuxedo, so you'll get an idea of how to do that. Okay, next. You'll notice that well, you can actually take the thumbsticks off. They come off, keep them to the side. And we'll replace the D-pad, but give me a moment. I want to show you a special way on how to do that. Okay, so we remove the two screws. We can actually take the circuit board out. It's actually plugged into these two things, so you can kind of pull up and keep it to the side. Okay. Now, if you're going to replace your buttons, any of these buttons, including your guide, you're actually going to have to take this board out as well in order to do that. But I'm actually going to show you how to disassemble the whole thing, since we're going to be replacing the bumpers and the triggers as well. So, you'll see that for the bumpers, here and here, and here and here, they're clipped in. The easiest thing to do is to just get them off, keep your finger underneath, and then use your screwdriver on the other side, pop from underneath, they come right off. Again, just kind of lift it off on that side, and then use your screwdriver on this side, and they come right off. To get the guide plate off, you need to push the guide button down, and then just declip it, and it slides right off. And your guide button itself comes off. I'm sorry, your sync button, not your guide button. Your guide button is along with all the rest of these buttons. Okay. Next, we're going to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, once all those screws are out, your daughter board, or your secondary board, will lift right out. Keep that to the side. pull your button pad off, keep that to the side, and now you have all your buttons. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons plus the guide. They all pour right out. Okay. Okay. Black buttons, white buttons. Okay. Phew. Like I said, this person wants half black, half white. And that one under the table. So there is the guide button. The only thing left to get is a black D-pad. Okay. So, that's done. Now, here are black buttons. Here are white buttons. We're going to do half and half. And then save the other half for another controller. So I'm going to do white B button. Then I'm going to do a black A button. There we go. And I'm going to do a white X and a black Y. Okay. Then I'm going to do one white and one black. There we go. Make sure my guide button sits in properly. Okay, that's all of them. Now, I'm going to put my pad back on. Pad should sit perfectly flush. Okay. Then, I'm going to put my daughter board back in. Just going to kind of hold it in place, flip it over, test my buttons. You know what? I'm going to actually make a quick change. I'm actually going to do this one black. And this one white. I'm going to put my pad back. Okay. Put my daughter board back in. All good. So now I'm just going to take some screws, screw this back in. You really only need one to hold it in place. Once that one's in, you're good to go. and you just put the rest of them in for support. Okay. Okay. There's one over here. Okay. And one over here. Okay. Next, replacing your D-pad. Your best bet is to lift from here, lift from the bottom and unclip. Is like, you'll see it, it's like two little clips down here that kind of hold the D-pad in place. You can kind of just pull out, it should lift right off, and then it unclips from the top as well. There we go. Now, get your replacement D-pad, which I put right here, and take out your D-pad just the way it was and lay it flat, because it's actually keyed a certain way. And the way that you could tell is if you flip it upside down, you'll see that it's square, 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 and then it's got like this rectangle key at the bottom. So you want to line it up the same exact way with your replacement D-pad. There you go. So if you flip them back over, they match. Pop it back in. Put your top on first. Make sure it fits in. Then the bottom should clip right in. And you should be able to feel it, all four. That's that. Okay. So, next we're going to do the triggers. How to replace the triggers. The triggers have two screws that hold them in. And don't forget there's a little rumble motor in there. So, undo the screws for one of the triggers. I'm only going to do one, I'm not going to do both. Because remember, this is a black and white controller. But obviously, it's the same for both triggers. There you go. Triggers off. There are my two screws. Okay, this trigger was the left trigger, so obviously I'm going to find the left trigger. I recommend you pre-tap them. New triggers can be kind of tight, so I would recommend kind of getting the screw started, screwing all the way down. All the way back up. And same with this one, kind of get it in the hole, get it started. See? It's very tight. You don't want to do this while trying to hold the motor and everything in place. It could be really difficult that way. There we go. All the way down, all the way up. Okay, done. Now, make sure your motor is flush, like that. Put your trigger on. Make sure it just lines up just right. I mean, obviously, your screw holes, everything should be perfectly lined up. Just like that. Remember, you've got your 2 wires over here for your rumble motor. Gotta get it to line up. There we go. Nice and tight. Okay, perfect. Do your second screw. You can take your screwdriver and kind of just spin the motor, make sure you got it in right. You'll actually be able to see if you just kind of look in there. You'll be able to see if it's flush or not. But that's pretty much it. Next thing you want to do is you want to put your guide plate back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the white sync button in first. And test it. Make sure it clicks when you push on it. If it doesn't, put your original back in, test your original. Yep, the original seems to work. Okay, line them up. There we go. Perfect. You might have to just kind of sand the back here a little bit so that it doesn't touch the board. There we go. So I got my white sync button in, and I'm going to use the black cover. Should snap right on. Test your guide button, make sure it pushes. Test your sync. Like I said, you can push down on the sync, take it off. Here's the white one that the replacement shell comes with. You can actually snap that one on too. Check your guide. Check, it works fine. But for this controller, we're going to put the black one back on. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Now, bumpers are really easy to put back in. I need one black bumper and one white bumper. I need left bumper in black. Okay, hold your trigger down. Make sure the wires for your trigger are properly in their guide so that they don't get clipped or clipped when you put the bumper back in. The bumper should just slide right back in and just snap it on. Done. And then the white one, same thing. You might want to pull on your wires a little bit from over here. Make sure that they're down in the hole here. Put your white bumper in. Is this the right one? No, it's not. There we go. That's the right one. There we go. Make sure they work. Perfect. Okay. So, at this time, it would be a good idea to do a little bit of cleanup. Okay. So next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start putting things back together. So next step would be to put your daughter board back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just do a side install for 1 second. Okay, perfect. And throw that up on there. Okay, so now I'm going to install my board. Going to slide it back on, and I'm not sure if you guys can see this. You'll hear it snap back in. That's that simple. Don't forget, take your 2 little A6 screws. They go in the corners. Screw down one of the screws. Whoopsie. Screw down the other screw. Voila. 90% of your controller is back together. Now, you're going to need your soldering gun again. Not sure if you guys can see this or not, but on the board itself for the rumble motors, this one's negative, this one's positive. Positive's the gray wire, black is the negative. Those are clearly marked. And then on the rumble motors, black again is negative, red is positive, and the plus is down here, and the negative is over here, so that's positive, that's negative. And then they're opposite on the other side. That would be negative, that would be positive. And again, there's signs on the board. There's the plus right there, there's the negative over there. Here's the negative for the rumble. Here's the positive for the other trigger rumble. You basically just want to solder your wires back on. So, let's start with the negative. There we go. Positive. Okay. Run your wires up through the bottom. Your rumble motor should kind of just sit in there. I mean, it could fall, but no big deal. You can always put it back in, as long as your wires go through. And let's get... See, it fell. No big deal, though. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, on this side, oops. Okay. Positive. Negative. Okay, just kind of fold the wires in. There you go, like that. Oh, wow, I've never seen this before. This rumble motor actually has a gray and a black instead of a red and a black. I've never seen that before. That's something new. Okay. Bottom's the negative. Top is the positive. Okay. And just check your work, make sure you're not grounding out on anything. Give me 1 second, I'm going to check my work. Okay, that's that. Perfect. Next, like I said, if you're putting if you're doing a whole shell in all one color, make sure that you put the battery clip from the old cover into the new cover so that you can complete your battery circuit. I'm not doing that for this controller, but obviously this goes on here. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to close this up. I'm going to do one white stick and one black stick. Your sticks can feel a little loose. I mean, even the stock sticks, they slide on and off pretty easily. What I like to do, basically just take your hot glue gun if you have one. You could also put a little strip of electrical tape on there. Basically, all I'm going to do is just, I'm not even going to put any glue on there really. I'm just going to rub the tip, whatever excess glue might be there, just slide it on. It'll kind of hold it in place a little bit, you know. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to reverse these. I'm going to put the white over here. Because we got the black bumper, so it'll be white, black, white. And then put the black over here. Okay. That's that. Now your sticks are in. Notice they don't slide off when I put them upside down. Okay. So next, I'm going to take my white faceplate and put that on there like that. And I'm going to take my black back and put this on. Make sure that you get the 2 battery posts in the area that they're meant to be. And the triggers are going to be up higher, so push the triggers down and you should kind of feel the whole battery thing clip in place. You should be able to click everything. Okay? There's that. Okay. Now, the easiest thing to do is to do the center screw first. Center screw. Might be a little hard to screw it because at first, these aren't tapped, but that should hold everything in place. Okay, so that's that. Then you could do your other screws. That's one. That's two. That's three. And last but not least, it's always nice if you have a magnetic screwdriver. That's four. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now, put the white battery cover on. Obviously, you can put on whatever cover you want. This one I'm going to do black. This one I'm going to do white. There we go. And that's that. It's done. That's how you replace your shell. That's how you replace your thumbsticks. And that's how you replace your buttons. Make sure they all push. And that ends the tutorial on how to swap buttons, thumbsticks, and or shell. Obviously, it's a good idea to hook up your controller and test it. Make sure it works. I thank you guys very much for watching our tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. You can find every color matte and glossy shell on our website, quickdrawmods.com. We also sell thumbsticks and we sell ABXY buttons. They do come with guides if you want to switch out the guide. The only problem with the guides they come with is they're solid plastic, so the LEDs have a hard time shining through. So if you've got some other mod, such as rapid fire or anything like that, where you need the light on your guide button, you really should leave the stock one in, or put in a custom guide button as long as it's transparent. We do have custom transparent guide buttons as well. And that's pretty much about it. So again, thank you very much for watching our tutorial. And thanks for your business. Have a great day.